Hi all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is all about starting a brand new sketchbook, and I'm super excited because this is one of the ones I got from Thailand and it's an A4 size, so I'm much happier with this size. I am going to be doing an in-depth sketchbook review about this one, and that will be in I think the next video. I'll have the date of when I'm going to be putting that out. I don't tend to do it based on the first page, and I will explain that in that sketchbook review as well. But for today, I wanted to actually chat about the challenge it can be to actually start a brand new sketchbook. And I know a lot of people can feel daunted and they don't like it because they feel like a sketchbook should be a more, especially like the first page, should be a bit more of a polished, finished piece, whereas, you know, it's not really what a sketchbook's meant to be, but there is always kind of that pressure that that first page is your starting off point and you really want to do something really good on it. I know quite a few artists won't actually work on the first page, they'll skip to like the second or third page and then go back to the first page when they're feeling a bit more confident. And I think in that we all kind of need to remember the point of what a sketchbook is, and the point is for you to experiment. It's for you to try out different ideas, whether it's sketching them out and maybe the composition doesn't work, or maybe it doesn't come out as nice as what you thought it was going to. Whatever it may be, that idea just doesn't work. And it's also a place for you to experiment with colours. Like, it's a great place if you've got an idea of something that you want to do and you're not quite sure what colours you want to do. Well, it's a perfect place to practice all of that, because you can get an idea of what colours work well together and just start your understanding of colour theory. And it's just a great place to experiment, whether it's with different mediums, whether you want to try out ink or acrylic paints or watercolour, or even like you've got like ink brush pens and things like that. Whatever it may be, your sketchbook is your place to practice all of that before you actually go around and create your final polished version of what you've been doing. That's the purpose of having sketchbooks, is to have that creative outlet for whatever idea pops into your head, and with whatever mediums and colours you want, just to see whether it works. I think sketchbooks are the places to make mistakes. That's what you want in a sketchbook. If everything is perfect and polished, you're not actually going to learn. So it's really important to give yourself that creative freedom to make mistakes. And that's something I actually need to listen to myself a bit more, because I do tend to put a bit too much pressure on myself in wanting to make everything look perfect. But the reality is you're never going to learn like that. You're only going to learn through making mistakes, through overworking your piece, because then you know when to stop. And you're only going to practice what colours go together by finding out what ones just don't go together. Like, that's the whole point of learning, is to make loads of mistakes, and your sketchbook is your space to be able to do that in. So personally for me, starting a sketchbook has never really been that daunting. I do try and see it as just a creative outlet. There is one sketchbook that I have been putting off starting in, although I have forced myself to start in since thinking about all of this, and that is a lovely little one I got from a sketchbook shop co. I'll have them tagged here. But she makes beautiful sketchbooks out of old books, and I'm never going to get another one like it. And I did like 2 or 3 paintings in it, and then I stopped because I was just like, oh, I don't want to ruin it, I don't want this to be over. And I think it's understandable if you've got a sketchbook that you genuinely love, but at the same time, it's still a sketchbook, it's still there to be used, and that's the point. So yeah, if you're ever intimidated about starting a sketchbook, even if it means just going along to like the second or third page, just start something, because your sketchbook is there for you to experiment in, and it's not necessarily meant to be for all these perfect, wonderful pieces. So yeah, for me, starting a sketchbook isn't that difficult, but I will admit finishing a sketchbook is where I really that's where I need to improve. Personally, I think finishing a sketchbook should be a bit more important than starting one, because the start of a sketchbook, you want to you can kind of see where you need to improve upon. So you know the things, okay, I've seen this part that I need to work on. So like for example, in this piece, I'm really pleased with the side profile. That's improved massively compared to some of the old pieces that I've done, but I still need to work on the mouth and the tongue. It feels very stiff and not very natural looking. That's not surprising because it's not something that I've practiced much. So now that's something that I know throughout this sketchbook. Okay, we're going to try different poses just to get that feeling a bit more lifelike and a little bit less rigid. And I'm okay with that starting the sketchbook, as long as throughout the sketchbook I can see improvement and progress, whether that's through trying a different medium and messing it up completely but now knowing how to make it work, or whether it's like this where I've got one part of the portrait that I want to improve upon and over the course of the sketchbook I'm able to do so. So for me, the last page of the sketchbook, I kind of want to show everything that I've learned and push myself to something that I would never have done at the start of that sketchbook, but now I'm more confident. And yeah, that's where I put too much pressure on myself, and also I'm rather impatient and I get really excited at being able to start a new sketchbook, and I just don't want to put that effort in, and I'm always just like rushing to the end and just really wanting it. So 9 times out of 10, the one that's in the back of the sketchbook isn't anywhere near as good as what I can actually do, but it's normally because I'm too excited to start a new one. And especially this time round, I just wanted that one over. I was just couldn't wait to start this one. And I think that's something important as well to remind yourself when you're starting a new sketchbook. Think about why you wanted to start it in the first place. So for me, I wanted, and I was massively looking forward to starting this one because it's a smaller size, it's an A4 size, so it's going to be easier for me to actually fill up the pages, which is what I wanted, and it's textured paper, and I prefer that over the smooth paper that I'd been working on. So I had all these things to look forward to, so that meant when it came to drawing out this idea, I was just excited, and I didn't care if it didn't work out fully because I was just pleased I was working in this new sketchbook. So if you are worried about starting a new sketchbook, do try and find some positives about why you want to even start that sketchbook. What is it that you're trying to learn? And maybe set yourself some goals. So one thing I used to do is I'd set out some goals that I wanted to achieve over the course of the sketchbook. That would also help with me starting it because I would start with one of those goals and it would be a way for me to see, okay, so this is how I can do it at the moment. I know that's something I want to improve, so now I've got this to look back on so that I can keep improving. So it's one of those things, like there's so many different ways to help you get into and being motivated to start your brand new sketchbook. So a bit about this piece. This one is part of Zeke's Lunchbox April's prompt list. I know I've been speaking about it quite a lot, but her one was leaves for this day, and I knew that I wanted to have this pose already, so the leaves just kind of finished it all off and made it work really well. Like I said, I do need to improve upon the mouth, and I do wish I had actually used some washi tape or something for the bottom of the page just to actually finish it off, because the little random swipes of green paint at the bottom I don't really like. But again, it's a sketchbook, that's the point. I'm supposed to be making all these silly little mistakes and things that I need to be improving upon. But yeah, I hope that this has helped slightly in making you feel a little bit more confident with starting your new sketchbook. And actually, here's a question: do you actually find starting the sketchbook the scary part, or is it finishing a sketchbook like what I find? So I think it would be interesting to know what everyone else thinks. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna have a little outro that says all this anyway, but you guys really are the best. Hi guys, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. To everyone that actually watches it all the way to the end, honestly, you guys are amazing. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in a couple of days for the next one.